Welcome to the studio at Africa's Green Economy Summit. Today we are joined by Premier of the Western Cape, Mr. Alan Winde. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Pleasure, great to
So previously you said that Western Cape government is trying to jump on all the opportunities to harness the opportunities of the green economy. Can you please tell us a little bit more about the most promising opportunities you see for the green economy in the Western Cape?
Well, maybe I should step one step back and say we've also got a crisis. So the crisis helps us a lot. We've known for years that climate change and the green economy linked to it is where opportunities lie. I think also because of the nature of our positioning in the world, we're very much tourism orientated. We're also very much agricultural product orientated, export. But we also like to feel that we're also very much a tech and innovation hub. And all of them link us to thinking about the future or the risks into the future. And that's why many years ago I was part of setting up Green Cape, because we knew the green economy was about the future. But then we've had these crises, whether they're climate change crises or right now we've got an energy crisis. And they all create opportunities for me for the green economy. And so we've set up things like a green economic zone in Atlantis. We've become this catalyst of green thinking. And so, yeah, I think it's a tough environment to be, but it's hugely full of opportunities.
And so what innovations are you seeing in the green economy that you think will have the greatest impact in the Western Cape?
Well, I think right now for me, it's about how do we innovate around energy. Seeing the pricing of renewables and the cost of renewables, falling really rapidly, and that becomes a huge opportunity of getting the balance right. People are always saying, well, renewables and new energy sources are going to be this costly transition, but in actual fact, the just transition that we speak about is actually becoming easier and easier, because now when you speak to the big solar producers in the Northern Cape, which is where the most sun is in our country, or in sub-Saharan Africa, and they start talking about cents per kilowatt hour. I think they're mentioning numbers like 6 and 7 cents. These are US cents, but 6 and 7 cents a kilowatt hour. You kind of go, wow, that's amazing. And then justifying remaining coal energy that we've got, or the coal resources, you say, well, absolutely, we've got to move to green.
Mm-hmm. And with all the opportunities that are coming up in the green economy, we're also seeing a giant shift towards greener mobility, electric vehicles, renewable energy powered electric vehicles. And you recently announced that the Western Cape government is planning to launch the Department of Mobility. So what do you think is going to be the main goal of this Department of Mobility, especially in a green economy?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is, and the reason, when you set up strategies, you set up focus areas, or you set up departments, you set them up to solve a problem. And mobility is a massive issue for our people. We have citizens who are the poorest citizens spending the biggest part of their income on transport. So you see a huge percentage being spent on mobility versus, say, food on the table. So mobility is a big issue. Then we've got massive congestion. People are not able to move easily. We have a broken rail system. So the ecosystem itself, when you analyze it, it says, when you start looking at all the different things on creating jobs, enabling the economy, what are the blockages, then that's what you've got to focus on. And mobility is a massive blockage. So then one says, well, how do you focus on it? I think the best way to do it is to actually have a dedicated department of mobility, a dedicated minister of mobility, a dedicated team of mobility. They know when they wake up in the morning, it's about mobility. And of course, knowing where we're going, and linked to battery technology, green hydrogen, it all talks about future mobility as well. And that's why it's so exciting to have a Formula E here, the first time on the continent. Every battery head and racer in the world is all concentrated around Cape Town at the moment. Mm-hmm. So that is great for us. I think it's great for young people, and I really hope that young people get the opportunity to come and experience what battery power is all about, and feel that exhilaration of acceleration that is second to none. I mean, you don't find that in the sort of most efficient, fastest sports cars in the world. You put it next to a battery car, and the battery car just eats it. So, this is an exciting time, an exciting space. We plant seeds in young people's minds for an amazing future.
I'm so happy to hear that the Western Cape government is taking so many steps to reduce the blockades, the unemployment rate, the lack of mobility. So if you are at liberty to say, can you please share with us any projects or plans in the pipeline for the Western Cape government to reduce these blockades and create a greener future in the recent future?
So we stick with mobility first. 2 years ago already, we passed our e-mobility strategy. So that's battery vehicle strategy. We already have a small fleet of electric cars in our fleet of cars, and they are for testing. I had an electric vehicle as my official vehicle for a while as part of testing. Now we know that the big issue that I had was the battery reliability in long distances. So, I've got to be in Beaufort West this morning, then I've got to be in, the Garden Route and then back at town. And I didn't have the ability to get enough charge into the system. So that says to you, well, we've got to relook at the network of charging capabilities. Are vehicles able to expand their distance longer? And so those are the environments that we are testing in our own fleet, linked to our own strategy, and then saying, well, how do we work with the private sector, which is a very fast-growing sector on EVs. I mean, and it's quite interesting. Maybe not here, but I look at companies in Europe where last year 74% of vehicles purchased in Sweden were electric. In Germany, maybe less. I think it was down to 17 or 20%. But these are big percentages overall. And how do we make sure we catch up on that? But then we've got to have the ecosystem, the environment. We've got the charging facilities. They're becoming more cost effective. We've got to cut the tax. We still charge luxury tax on these vehicles, when in actual fact there should be an incentive because it's an environmental incentive.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Winde, for sharing your insights with us here today. And to our viewers who are watching, make sure to share your thoughts with us in the comment section down below, and make sure to like and subscribe to see more content like this. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.